Hey guys, what's up? It's Daniel. Join me today as I change the oil on our 997-911 Carrera S. So like I said, today we're going to be changing the oil on this 997.1 Carrera S. It should be the exact same for the 997.1 Carrera, and I believe the 4S. Do not quote me on that, but if you do have 997.1 Carrera S, I guarantee this is exactly how to do it. So for our oil change, we will be using this K&N PS7011 oil filter. It's a performance oil filter. It's the one that most people recommend on the forums, and my little gummies. And we have, for the oil, Liquimoly SAE 5W40. This has also been recommended by Porsche, actually. Instead of Mobil 1, Porsche decided to change it and go with Liquimoly. If you saw my previous video on the 993 oil change, Levi's 993, you'll see that he switched to Liquimoly too. So the Porsche community is in fact moving to Liquimoly instead of Mobil 1. Who'd have thought? But that's really all we need, and we did buy a new oil drain plug. We bought the new crush washer. We're ready to do this. So first things first, all we're gonna do is jack up the car on all four wheels because you need the car to be completely level so that the oil can drip out entirely, right? If it's a little bit off, a little skewed, it won't all come out. So we're just gonna jack it up, put all four wheels in the air, and then we can get going. We have to change this oil pretty much every 6 months, so it's about time that this car's due. So let's get going. And also, before we start, a quick little tip. If you have a cabriolet specifically, lower the windows just a little bit before you lift up the car, because the body flex, you don't really want to flex the doors and the windows all with the roof. It's just not really great. So just lower the windows, just crack them open a little so that you avoid that. And just so y'all know, this is definitely one of the easiest cars to change your oil on. And I mean, seriously, all you gotta do, well, first of all, you don't have to lift it up, but if you do lift it up, just lift it up. And then there's one drain plug, one oil filter, change them out, that's it. It's all right there. It's just like basically 2 or 3 simple things. So let me show you how. All right guys, so we just finished jacking up the car. First thing that we're gonna do, open up the engine lid and find the oil cap. Just remove it. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. There we go, I got it. So, in case you don't know, you just do this to remove any pressure, any back pressure, so that when you remove the oil drain plug at the bottom, the oil can flow out smoothly without interruption because there'll be no back pressure. So just a little tip, go ahead and remove that. And for the oil, whenever we drain the oil, I'm gonna be using this oil catch reservoir thing. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but I got it at AutoZone for like 15, maybe 20 bucks. It's really easy to use. I'll show you guys. You don't have to use this, obviously, but I use it to dispose of the oil, you know, the right way. I'll take it to an AutoZone when it's full and I'll dump it in their oil recycling. I don't know how they recycle it, but I give it to the right hands. So I just use this. It's really easy. It's nice to keep the floor clean and it keeps the mess away. So I'm going to be using this. If you have one at home, you can use it. Great. You don't have to use this one, but I recommend it. And also, before we start, a quick little tip that I've learned is to turn the car on just a little bit so the oil gets a little warm and it gets a little more liquidy. So we're going to go ahead and turn the car on. Sounds pretty good, right? We did a little something to the exhaust. If you want to know more about that, leave a comment below. It sounds magnificent. So, more on that maybe later. Leave a comment down below if you want to see that. But we're just going to let the car idle for a bit. We're going to let it warm up just a little bit, not to running temperature, but just a little bit, so that the oil gets a little bit more liquidy and so that we can extract the oil a lot easier. So let's wait for it to warm up a little. So the car is now a little warmer. It's idling nice and low. So I think we can turn it off now or rev it. That works too. All right, that's all we need. So let's go ahead and open up the oil cap, and let's get started. All right, it's time to go underneath the car. Everything is done up here, so let's take a look underneath the 911. You can see right here is the oil pan right at the rear, and this right here is the oil drain plug. All y'all need really is an 8mm Allen or hex socket. I'm going to use a little extender from 1/2 inch to 3/8 because that's just what I have, and my trusty Pittsburgh ratchet wrench. And also you'll need your oil filter container socket. I'm not exactly sure where I got this. I think it was either, I want to say Suncoast Auto Parts, maybe FCP Euro, I'm not sure, but this is for the 997.1 oil filter container or housing, which is located right here. So this just fits in right here, and it gives me a good grip on the housing. And for the Allen hex, this just goes in right in the oil drain plug, and you can pull it right out. So let's get my oil catch reservoir and start this. So the oil is gonna drip down into here, and it'll just collect inside of here. Make sure to open, there's a little hole. There it is. You can barely see it. I should have probably opened it before putting the catch on, but I'm gonna try opening it just to relieve any back pressure. So let's go ahead and put this underneath the drain plug. There we go. The good thing about this drain plug is it's pointing directly down. It's completely vertical. Whereas in some cars where it's horizontal, you really don't know where it's gonna fall. You could probably overshoot or undershoot and it would make a huge mess. Ask me how I know, but we're just gonna remove that. Whoa! Oh! Why did it do that?
It's windy.
Well, there we go. Oil is coming out. And we did spill a little. So I didn't get that on video, but the crush washer was stuck to the oil pan and it just fell into the oil. Here it is. Make sure you get your crush washer out and you replace it along with your drain plug. Do not reuse the drain plug or the crush washer because this will not work again. In the 993 oil change video, Levi explained why your oil will just go everywhere. So just make sure to replace it. You'll need a new one. We're just gonna let the oil drip out a little longer and we should be able to remove the oil filter container next. So I've just checked the progress of the stream of oil. It's really thin, so just gonna wait maybe 2 more minutes and then we'll plug it back up and go and move on to the oil filter housing. So ideally, it would be great if I could remove both the oil filter housing and the drain plug at the same time, but the size of my oil catch is not big enough. So I'm gonna have to wait for this to finish and then plug it up and then take that out and then put it back with the new filter. It's not the most efficient, but it's the best I can do. So we're just going to be using a new drain plug. This is just a standard drain plug and a new crush washer. There are different types of drain plugs. There are some with like a magnetic tip, and the theory behind that is that when you put it in, any metal debris that may be in the engine will be collected by the magnet. Some people say it works, some people don't agree with that. I'm not a fan of it, so I'm just going to be using a regular drain plug. So I think it's time to put the drain plug back. Let's grab our drain plug. And yes, while there is still a little bit of a drip, this could go on for hours. It really is impossible to get every single last drop of oil out, so I think this is good enough. It's been like this for honestly maybe an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and put it back on. Try to make this as not messy as possible. Oh god. Okay, well that's not gone well. Let me try again. There we go. And then you're gonna want to tighten this to 37 foot-pounds of torque. So let me grab my torque wrench. So normally I would wear gloves when changing oil, but I just got a little too excited and forgot to put them on. But after that mess, I decided to put some on. So I'm going to go ahead and I set my torque wrench to 37 pound-feet of torque. All right, there we go, 37 foot-pounds of torque. So I've got my oil filter housing socket on, and I'm going to attach it and just go ahead and unscrew it, making sure the pan is in the right place. There we go. There we go. All right, it's gonna be pretty, messy. So it's probably gonna go everywhere. I'm gonna push it up until I feel it rotate twice. There we go, and I'm gonna let it go. Oh, it's not ready yet. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Yeah, that's a lot of oil. I'm gonna leave that there. I just like putting my hand here with the gloves. And for now, I'm just gonna let this drip until it's pretty much done. Then I'll remove the filter, let it drip whatever else it needs to drip, and then install the new filter and install the filter housing again. I'm gonna go ahead and take the oil filter off. And here it is. Look at how, oh God, that's disgusting. Really dark oil, actually. So glad we're putting in new oil and a new filter. Here is the new filter. Look at that. Once again, K&N, the PS7011 filter. So I'm going to try to touch this as little as possible with my oily hands. And you can see right there. There we go. Just slides into place. Stays. Check out the difference between the old oil filter and the new oil filter. That's crazy. That's seriously something else. And I cleaned up the oil filter housing. Let me grab a bit of oil. Doesn't matter if it's old or new oil, and we're just going to go ahead and rub that oil onto the new O-ring. This is to prevent the O-ring from stretching or breaking or cracking when being installed. The oil will help lubricate it so it can slide on and prevent any of that. And also, another tip is to take the oil filter housing and pour a bit of the new oil inside of the housing so that when you put it in the filter already has a bit of oil, so when you turn the car on for the first time, the oil doesn't need to travel all around the engine and then through the filter, which wouldn't be great. Whereas with this trick, the filter already has some oil, so it can circulate the engine a lot faster and a lot cleaner. In other words, this is so that the engine doesn't starve of oil as soon as you turn it on. So I'm going to fill it up halfway with the new oil. We just filled up the housing with oil about halfway. So be careful, don't drop it. I'm going to slowly put it in, making sure it doesn't overflow. There we go. Going to tighten it. Tighten that as much as I can with my hand. And then I'm going to switch to my torque wrench. I'm going to put the filter housing socket onto my torque wrench, and I'm going to set it to exactly 19 foot-pounds of torque. So put it on. Oh, that's it. There's 19 foot-pounds. Very light, not too tight. There we go. That is, where I lost it, there it is. It is successfully installed. So, old oil filter out. I'm gonna move this whole oil catch thing out. There's our oil catch. Let me pull it towards us a bit. Yeah, it did get a little messy. There is a bit of, oh, there's a bit of oil in there. Oil filter. So, I'm gonna close it up, clean this, and dispose of it properly at an AutoZone. We are done down here. So everything that's left to do is up here in the engine bay. All right, guys, it's time for the fun part, the part that we always wait for. We've been waiting for it. It's time to put the new oil in. So the oil cap has been removed from the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the funnel and pour the oil in. So okay, guys, so this is the engine treatment that I was telling you about earlier to remove or to lessen the friction of the cylinders on the cylinder walls. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add the entire bottle is what's recommended. So I'm gonna open it up and I'm just gonna go ahead and, open it again. Ooh, look at that. So it was not that much at all. All right, we're gonna let that flow in. Now we're gonna continue adding oil. We've already added 5 quarts and the car only needs 9 quarts. So the second big bottle that we're gonna use, we're only going to add 4 quarts. We're gonna go ahead and measure it. We're not gonna put the whole thing in, but we're gonna roughly estimate and go from there. Here we go, 5 quarts in total. There's little measuring lines here. I'm gonna go ahead and put, since I already just put the engine treatment in, I'd say that's maybe half a quart. So I'm gonna go ahead and put around 3.5 quarts of oil to finish it off. I'm gonna check the engine with the electronic oil measurement, and then we'll see how much we need to put after that. So let's go ahead and finish filling it up. Again, it's easier to keep adding little by little than to remove oil. Having done it myself, it's very annoying. It's tedious, pain, and just go little by little. If you have to add more, it's much better than having to remove and re-put it in. We're gonna go ahead and put 3.5 quarts. All right, we just finished pouring the last little bit of oil. I'm gonna put the oil cap back on, and I'm gonna go ahead and check to see if that's the right amount. If we need more, then we'll add a little more. I have the key in my hand right now because what we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside. Even though the car is somewhat floating at the moment. I'm gonna go inside. Turn the ignition on. Come on, if I can get it in. There we go. Come on, get in. Switch it on. And we're gonna see the oil measurement. Oil level is actually a little bit high, but that's all right. That's all right. We're gonna drive it a bit. We're gonna see how it goes. If it still says it's a little high, then we'll see what we can do. But for now, I think that's just right. And a tennis ball just rolled by. So we've pretty much finished. You can see my reflection. I think we're done. Make sure, obviously, you put your oil cap back on and you put it back in place. But I think for the most part, actually entirely, we're done. All we gotta do is get the car off of the blocks and off of the jack stands. So as you guys saw, this car was so easy to change the oil on. I wish all cars were this easy. You guys can definitely do this. This is such an easy at-home thing to do. Or maybe you just wanted to watch it for fun. Whatever the case may be, thank you guys for watching. Take care.